It's Wednesday. It's January 11th, 2023. So that means it's 111. It's 3. On the calendar. The BS this morning is E8 for 2023. Now, yesterday I discovered on Highway Patrol Black and White that there used to be something, or there still is something, that has 8 points. It is some version of 2 squares overlaid over one another on a one-dimensional plane. It looks like 2 squares with no altitude in 3-dimensional being taken into account. I've seen here reference to 2 triangles also superimposed on top of one another, makes a 6-pointed star. Then on the C, the BS, there's 2 circles, just for geometric shapes, with they have a lot of symbolic value, but they have no label for me necessarily. I don't know what to call them. One I think they reference as the Star of David, which is the 6-pointed star. I've heard that before. And then the 2 circles I've not heard of, other than 3 letters of CBS. And then there's the squares with the 8. Again, I have no word for that. Nothing's been pronounced. I don't know who uses it. What's it a reference to? I'm not sure. So there's that. Then, of course, I have this geometric and spatial appearance in cosmology. I don't know who handles that on the world stage. I know men at the War House fight forever. They like to bring disarray and chaos. Some like to order their houses. Some find pride in it. And satisfactory means. So there's that. There's this morning the FAA completely shut down. I mean, if I had my support that I wish I had on a day-to-day basis, so we could have a brief discussion privately about what it means, or what I think it means, and what my concerns are. I mean, I get it's a big display, letting the pilots of the commercial passenger air travel through the FAA. They have something that reads to me, not AM. Don't know what that's about. On the Meriden and Maritime. Not sure which M they're referring to. Pretty sure it has something Meridian. But here we are. So there's that. Then yesterday I watched on MeTV this POPEYE episode, and they had a yellow and black. Today they have on a red and black, but a red and black olive oil who is being torn between a taxi station of red and green and like an orange and a yellow, like a red and a yellow, somewhere around there. Like her 2 legs are just being torn, and they're driving down the street in some perverse method of cartoon in the Warner Brothers and the Looney Tunes. but she's wearing red and black. Now, interestingly enough, around the kitchen table or around the house, Carol's husband, my grandmother's first child, her husband, whoever he is, used to call my mother Olive Oil a lot. My mother tells the story. I don't think she has any symbolic like reference to any of this, but the facts are whatever the facts are. So I'm just like, Popeye has 4 arms. He's driving one car, and there's someone else driving the other car. Then they have this thing on called this globe. And they reference Spirit Airlines today on the shutdown through the FAA of the taxi of the runway. I mean, maritime security is one thing, but Meridian security is what really frightens me with all this equipment that Maritime allowed with whatever agreement. I don't know. Again, I have no idea who is in cahoots with whom as cohorts. But again, I have a very significant piece with the here and now and the future in AERO, which is like spiritual and surreal amongst humanity, since I have symmetry. I'm supposed to have symbiosis with the environment and with what's around. But yet it's been a very what feels like parasitic relationship with whatever's in this. Now, this particular yesterday when it was yellow and black, they had at the end, it wasn't Universal Studios. It said Universal City, City, which in Italiano, it was Cittadella, LA. But here, vieni qua, it's a city, City. Just because I had 2 grandfathers, and I have to update my records for my children, and especially for Alexander. So I'm watching this with a keen eye this morning. And then they put out, I've referenced Alice in Wonderland, which is pretty much how I arrived here. It feels like just blue dress, white frock. I mean, I have pictures of me in the sandbox in Manhattan on Easter. Golden blonde hair, looks like Alice in Wonderland. And now today they put out this movie with an actress that looks very much like the second wife of the first problem. And they're it's called Alice. There's a comma and then Darling. Again. And the Gail King says very much, she's like, she even says to the woman, she's like, I didn't like your character at first, and like there's this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I see what the symbolism is behind getting that movie production put together and out there. At falling in love with characters or absolutely despising a character that you don't even know. But in like the Avantara, it does affect multiple levels of management when there's fights in things that are, I mean, again, when an apiary speaks at the hive and the hive mechanics, the entire drone population is to be silenced. Because management has larger issues. If the apiary hive queen is being mishandled, misappropriated, mistouched, misbred, it's a much larger issue. It's a much deeper investigation. It's a much broader, widespread problem that has frightening and devastating consequences when it's mishandled. For whatever reason, you have symmetry. The symmetry is known, and then there's the asymmetrical. There's a symbiotic relationship in some synthesis, and then there's the parasitic that pull off. You must get your Eckstein in order before you can build the arch and before the other stones lay in the correct masonry. These are known. Where I am unclear is the struggle of following and obeying the divine order of that. And where anything else might come into question seems really irrelevant when it's somewhere between maritime and meridian, and it affects everything land-bound. So, Dragnet this morning had on some kind of, I don't know the name of it. It was an episode where it was the Holy Bible that had a bullet hole in it. And somebody tried shooting the Bible, but it's in the mantle of the chimney of the fireplace. And then it goes to a bunch of other different sequenced. And in this movie that Gail comments on about how she doesn't like the character that this person is playing, but then halfway through she realizes that it's actually the guy that's psychologically. And when I say, like, there, first of all, Gail also says a key phrase. She goes, "Houston, we have a problem." Yeah, we do. When I say there's an insult to my intelligence, the insult are the 2 certificates on file. They should have never even hit on file in the incorrect, illegitimate order. But they did. But I'm still the symmetry. I still am out of order and out of control of the situation. I can't even help myself. I don't even have ground support. So this is called the Big Bullet. It's S9 E17 for Dragnet. I have it part of the way through the episode to where I needed it just to show that they flashed this image, because I know that this was whatever, and I think it, and then I'm going to go to some of the other pieces that they showed this morning.
No. All right, you want to get a coat, Mrs. Gaynor? We'll have to take you downtown. Yes, sir. I'll get my coat.
Is it going to be all right?
We don't decide that, ma'am.
But you told the truth. Isn't that going to make a difference?
We'll put it down that way. Right. There's the book. There's the slug. What's left of it.
reads, God bless our happy home. I don't know what they meant by that, but that's what they showed on this particular episode. Now, on MeTV this morning, in Tune In With Me, it's a mystery theme. It's S1. And this was like, I think in the time of Universal City, which was sometime in the 50s, is I believe what the reference is. And today is Wednesday. Hold on a second. Today is Wednesday, 1/11, 2023. And that's the air date. It has TVPG HD series, it says. And it's on WJLP.
In fact, this next cartoon stars two humans, Popeye and Bluto. See if we can figure out what our mystery theme is with Taxi Turvy.
Now, I don't know if this, I mean, it looks like it has something to do with the fuel crisis. I don't know, oil's involved. I don't know if this is an OPEC reference. Kingdom issue. I'm not sure. But it is a reference, and it has the sailor, Popeye the Sailor. So it looks maritime related at Kingdom, and keeping track of who's what's what. And then there's this tax and a stand. And it looks like these two competing tax whatever are fighting for the stand, where then people on the street are trying to get in and just whatever. And then they wind up fighting for Olive's hand in marriage, it looks like, or her business, let's call it. And they wind up doing, I mean, like, it's a number of what they did to Olive. And Olive, in this particular episode, is wearing the red and black. And she's being split between these two competing taxi representatives. And I'll just put it on because it explains whatever it explains. And it reminds me a little like Dan and the really handsome guy for the Brady Bunch that was sent to Mr. Healy's study hall. I'm just saying, in case my American dad somewhere really wants to know, since he wasn't present, but Healy was. And so was the two gentlemen in that particular study hall as representatives of I don't know what, when I returned back after my uniformed time in the Catholic school for those 2 years. When I returned back I stayed residency at the Glen, so I was away, but then I went back, and lo and behold, there was a study hall, and that's where the trip to Florida. I got a call on the blue phone in the kitchen at the Glen, whoever had the phone number. And then I was invited to Florida for the spring break. whatever that meant.
Skiddly dee dee dum the boom boom the bee babe the skeet scan scoop scan skiddly doodly dum the bee bum the boom the bee dum the
This spot is taken, bub. Taxi!
And this happened during my season. And they knew I was an asymmetrical. They knew I was bringing the special baby and that my breeding season was the most important. So why there was any foul play, I still to this day have no idea.
Hey, taxi! Coming right up, bub. Rich Hotel, son, and step on it. Taxi, mister. I said the Rich Hotel, damn it.
Now in the background, it said ALS and it had the GYM and the 11.
That roof was a healthy dipper.
Now notice she's wearing red and black today. Yesterday on the Universal City Looney Tunes, she was wearing yellow and black.
Well, I'm getting this fare.
23 Skidoo Street, driver.
What's a daisy
You're like, I don't know. Is that port related? Portuguese? Is that I'm hungry? I mean, I have a hard time reading the signs and the flag patterns. I know there's a lot of different possibilities.
Double-crossing fare snatcher.
What happened here? And the only one I see getting hurt is the woman. The guys are fighting over this, having a lot of fun, it looks like, all caught up in their fight. And the woman's the only one I see getting harmed. looks like too much expansion, too much rollout, all at the same time in some uncontrollable fashion without the correct, like, I mean, again, do I call it divine order? Is that gonna, I mean, it's a vine. If it's a vine and there's fruit that leads from one to the next, I mean, I don't even know verbally how to put it into some kind of context between flower season and fruiting season.
A train's coming. There's something fishy going on around here.
I've had enough.
No fare is getting away from me. Oh, no. You ain't eating no spinach into this picture.
Stay tuned.
Now, CBS E8, around my kitchen table, Lynn and Lou, although we weren't sitting in the kitchen, we were sitting in front of the TV, Lynn tells me that last year, Golden Globe, I don't watch it, so the Golden Globes got canceled because there was some boycott. I didn't follow it. I have no idea what the humans speak about. They're acting in some mannerism for which I haven't taken part in. I don't know who's pulling the strings. All I know is that I've been harmed, and I don't know how to get apiary word to my support team. I don't even know who supports me any longer. I don't know who dropped the ball, who put me in this position to be harmed and to make it look one way in some psycho thriller so they could just carry out their whatever as if I didn't exist. Living invisible. I don't know. I don't know. But this is what the Golden Globes looks like today. Some more people I don't know. Some no-name who was hosting it last night. Never seen him before, never even heard his name
Turning to the
before.
entertainment world, the Golden Globes returned last night after the ceremony was canceled last year due to allegations of racism. A lot of big stars boycotted those awards, but they were back on the broadcast last night, including big names like Brad Pitt and Angela Bassett, and Eddie Murphy, who was given a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Now, Brad Pitt, I've heard, is considered a heartthrob. Give credit where credit's due. I heard that in a It Didn't Happen meeting once upon a time.
Co-host Kevin Frazier was there too, and he joins us from Los Angeles. Hey, Kevin, thank you for waking up early for us. How you doing?
Nick, never a problem. Always good to talk to you in the morning. You know, the show was back on TV for a one-time trial after the Hollywood Foreign Press Association made a series of reforms. And because of that, there was a lot of diversity among both the winners and the presenters.
And I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I'm black.
As Gerard Carmichael told the crowd at the Beverly...
My mother said, because I didn't watch it, she taped it. I said, maybe I'll watch it, but I'm really going to watch it more for the sponsors to see who's sponsoring this level of whatever. But my mom was like, it was so hard to watch. She's like, it was a lot of speeches. She's like, and then it was a lot of, I mean, like, movies she hasn't seen. And credit being given to people that it's like, I mean...
Hilton Hotel. He was surprised and torn to be asked to host the 80th Golden Globes.
1 minute, you're making mint tea at home. The next, you're invited to be the black face of an embattled white organization.
But the night's focus was to honor the best in film and television.
The Banshees of Inisherin!
The most honored film of the night, The Banshees of Inisherin, won Best Picture, Comedy, or Musical, as well as Best Screenplay and a top acting prize for Colin Farrell as a man mourning a broken friendship.
I never expect films to work or to find an audience, and when they do, it's shocking to me.
Mr. Spielberg, step right up here.
Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans took the prize for Best Motion Picture Drama, with Spielberg also named Best Director for telling his life story.
I figured out when I turned about 74 years old, I said, you better do it now.
The time-bending Everything Everywhere All at Once earned big wins for supporting actor Kiwi Kwan and Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, Michelle.
Now, I'm not sure, just from my apiary documentation, if that is their version of thrusting me at this point, at this level, into this world of hurt after all the years of abuse my mom and I have suffered, to now carry it forward into this world of hurt so they could do the time-bending sequence. Again, not quite sure where that level of whatever is in crediting, giving credit where credit's due. But I also don't know from this position where the attacks came from while I was standing in New York.
Oh, yo.
And this is also for all the shoulders that I stand on, all who came before me, who looks like me. Angela Bassett!
I hear that saying a lot. So she stood on shoulders. Almost like that drill down into the ground. I mean, you had to stand on somebody else's shoulders to give you the opportunity to get where you've gotten. Right. That's part of the, like, I guess, lords of chaos that are reigning over this area at this point. And in this industry, I'm not quite sure. At storytellers and storybook, the divine order is off.
Angela Bassett took home the award for Best Actress in a Supporting Role for the Black Panther sequel, Wakanda Forever.
Get in here. We showed the world what Black unity, leadership, and love looks like beyond, behind, and in front of the camera. Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy accepted the honorary.
It personally looks like you stole the camera and just painted it some other way. But again, we're giving credit where credit's due. My situation, my story is still not right. And I have, like, the symmetrical future and here and now that wind up in a cycle for planning at, like, uber importance, not just like some radicalized version of storytelling.
Cecil B. DeMille Award and got a big laugh while offering his blueprint for success.
Mind your business and keep Will Smith's wife's name.
That moment got quite the laugh. Now, among the TV awards, Abbott Elementary was the big winner, holding it down for broadcast, walking away with the Best Television Series, Comedy, or Musical. It also won 2 acting awards for the show's star and creator, the incredible Quinta Brunson, and supporting actor Tyler James Williams. Was so happy for him. Gail?
Oh, you were so right. Love all things Abbott Elementary, and
Yes.
only Eddie Murphy could have gotten away with that joke. That had
Thank
everybody
you.
wailing. crying. It was good. Kevin, thank you. Always good to see you. We gotta go.
Always good to see you.
Coming up, see ya. Coming up, the best.
Now, Lionsgate brought this out, this Alice, darling. And it's just the interaction that really caught my attention.
The beloved star, beloved is a word for you of the big screen. Anna Kendrick is known for her roles in the Pitch Perfect and Twilight film franchises, as well as her Oscar-nominated performance in the movie Up in the Air. Thank you very much. Now, some critics are already calling her performance in her new movie, Alice, darling, her best yet. Kendrick plays a woman who's pushed to her breaking point by her psychologically abusive boyfriend.
This is what living invisible, on top of living with somebody who's an insult to your intelligence, looks like. While everyone around you pretends that this level of enslavement is all right, warping and changing all the future dynamics, when you know this is not all right, but you don't know where your support team went.
This is a clip.
I can't do another thing wrong.
Alice, what does that even mean?
No, I lied to him. He doesn't even know that I'm here.
What?
I mean, he does now. He called.
Well, why would you lie to him?
Because I'm bad.
What?
I don't know what this script is supposed to mean. Like, this is where Hollywood comes in and, like, they don't want to die and they've got to answer something. So they write it according to their own safety protocols rather than how the story actually is supposed to go. Because so much stuff has been broken. And the apiaries know. They just don't have, I mean, in my case, I just don't have the support team that I've needed. Since birth, it looks like.
You wouldn't love me if you knew how bad I am.
Jesus, is that something that he tells you?
That's her friend Tess. Tess goes, Jesus, is that what he tells you?
And what happens when you don't have human resources? I mean, I'm supposed to have a support team. It's really important. When you're the woman who brings in the symmetry and symbiosis, it's very spiritual. It's a very deep-rooted truth. And when there are people keeping you from your support team and your human biological necessity, it speaks to more than just Golden Globes and some storytellers and some sports people and some fly-by-nights.
Houston, we have a problem. Anna Kendrick recently revealed that she drew from her own experience when preparing for this role. She's also executive producer of the film and joins us now. This is her first Broadcast News TV interview about the movie, and we're so glad that you chose to be here with us.
That's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much. I started watching the movie, Anna, and I deliberately didn't know what it was about. Sometimes I like to watch with no thing. First, I wasn't even sure I liked her.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I liked her friends. I thought boyfriend was nice, and then midway you realize that he's a jerk. It really was interesting.
Yeah, you were saying that to me earlier, and I appreciated that so much. I think a lot of people are maybe afraid to say, like, I don't really like your character at first.
I didn't. Why didn't I like her?
I think that's important because it's, you know, she's in a bad place. She's cold, she's rude, she's kind of a bummer to be around for the first part of the movie. And I think, you know, we were sort of talking about the movie feeling like almost like a mystery film.
Yes.
Because you are going like, wait, who is likable here?
Yes.
Who is the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Because that's the experience so often is you're going, am I the bad guy? What's going on? And like, you're trying so hard to pull that apart and figure it out, and you become this detective in your own life. And it's so much harder to figure out than just looking at like each behavior, and you have to sort of start trusting like, this is harming me, this is doing something terrible to me. But that's really hard to do.
That's a good layover for like Cosmic Nursery of how this level of break in reality and dissociated personalities from the apiary. Like, it's like humanity disassociated itself from hive management requirements and apiary needs. I mean, again, I don't know who's trying to accomplish what in the world, but I'm asking myself, what in the world? And then they come out with like a movie like this. Is this their, like, I'm not sociopathic. This type of behavior is. I'm socio-analytical, or I analyze the sociopaths.
Appreciated that you focused on the psychological abuse, because most of us talk about physical abuse, but very few movies and very few women talk about the psychological abuse.
Yeah.
And then to hear that you've been through this yourself.
Yeah, I think it's...
What can you share with us about your own personal experience and why you wanted to do this?
Yeah, I think part of the reason that people don't talk about it is it feels embarrassing. I think it's something that's so difficult to even put into words, and the challenge of creating a film that put you in that experience was a really bold endeavor, I think, and the screenwriter and the director, Mary Nye, did such an incredible job of really putting you in that experience. I mean, as you say, like, you start the movie and you don't really know what's going on. A lot of people have told me, like, halfway through the movie that they're not sure what to believe. And that's a big part of that experience, is that your mind starts to play tricks on you.
It's almost like territory psychology at the moment. There's a territorial fight going on above the heads of normal reality. But some people get stuck in these movies and storylines. I mean, I'm looking for socio-analytical pieces that I can compilate and summate together in a quantifiable realm of quintessential. I mean, it's a piece of space and time. I didn't think I'd have to come to this level and explain.
And you don't know if you can trust your own perception and your own experience, and the movie kind of puts you in that place.
Now, you've been through some of these things personally, and now there's a film where you get to add into it from personal experience. What advice do you give to someone who might be in a similar situation?
I have thought about this so much because
it's like the psychology of the area is dissociative personalities. Just an analytical view on it. By the way, in Canada, they labeled me as an ID. Just saying. Now at 6 a.m., they put on this reference to the airline, the Not AM. Again, Nottingham? I'm not clear. But it's a CBS News this morning at 6 a.m., same date, Wednesday, 1/11.
News flight delays across the country after a computer system outage at the FAA. Here's traffic reporter Guy Stanier.
That's right, Mary.
And now there's these computer languages. There's some market territorial fight that goes on at Meridian level. I understand that fully. What I don't understand is why the airlines created these commercial passengers. They work off of some system I can't even untangle at the moment. I have some theories going in my quietness of my notebooks and my mathematics. And then there's this allowable wearable technology that can't be controlled. And then there's the human trafficking portion of moving them all over the place. And then that opens up the possibilities of, like, stealing intellectual property and proprietary software and trying to mismanage territorial issues with new device and viral programs. I mean, it's a real mess when I sit down and I think about all the allowances they've taken while my apiary position is being ignored completely. And I don't even know how to get to the correct support team. I don't know how they're constructed. I don't know what they call themselves. I don't know what they look like.
We have been reporting on an outage that could possibly affect flights this morning. Jim Smith is...
Now, it says here, breaking news, FAA and this not AM system on outage.
Is live over Newark International Airport with the latest. Jim.
Yeah, good everyone.
And this is going on something called a New Jersey. It's not even New York. But I heard on Live with Kelly and Ryan, where there's a guest host today, that it's the entire FAA system took a break this morning. Not just one airline. Like they all rested the responsibility on their shoulders, perhaps fiscally. I'm not clear. But so at least that level of boredom doesn't like fight with one another over more ridiculousness as to who's losing money and who's going to be harassed by the passengers of like non-importance and like getting things done.
We're watching as an airplane taxis to the runway now at Newark for departure. What this stems from is something noticed.
And it says Spirit. Just so there's a clear, definable, discernible something to blame it on when having to be harassed by the general public for things that aren't really clear in the moment, perhaps.
The NOTAMs, Notice to Air Mission Systems, that typically deals with short-term specific information regarding airspace and airport facilities. There was an outage yesterday afternoon and disseminating new notices. So right now, that has the potential to cause delays to aircraft, but it's not known exactly what impact it'll have. Check with your airline specifically on any potential delays or cancellations. Guy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary.
Guy, thank you. 6:48. Could gas stoves...
So again, topiary, apiary, it's written and calculated into human existence by the calcaneus calculus and my recreation. I'm like, if I put it in Star Wars terms, it's like leading the drones, and I have one clone. And there's there's a head count of unknown drones. I mean, I don't have a head count on that. To speak on, I have a head count on my one clone at Star Wars terms, which is my son, who is the future for the House of August, with the symmetry and the symbiotic relationship he and I have at Divine Order at that level. I don't know who in Maritime, who in Meriden, and who in land management needs to know these things. I would have assumed they would have known of my arrival, considering that in cosmology, there's time and space is handled completely different at AERO than at AIR in space, and so on and so forth. But again, it's being mishandled, and I don't even know like what department handles that in humanity. I have not been introduced to a level of humans that have ever directed me or given me their arm, let's call it, to hold through my whatever, an introduction to who I was promised, let's call it, to, for having this special child. It's just been a series of errors. And I don't know how to report them or to whom. Since I know there's a group of, there's people that know. What I'm unclear of is why there is this antagonistic whatever that I'm just being mishandled in several different decades, and my mother before me. I mean, had all gone according to whatever, I would have arrived at a higher stature, so it would have been an easier whatever. I could see that there were efforts going on when I was younger, in whatever that was about. But again, It's this real problem with the apiaries need what they need at hive management, and calcaneus calculus, and then there's a whole lot of some dystopian, like lower level egotistical fight at sociopaths, and it's affecting the apiary and the management and the safety of not only coexistence but human existence, along with other management issues. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.